Alright, folks, welcome back, everyone. 欢迎大家回来。今天是第523天 It is day 523. Let's get
Oh no.
into our choice words that we have picked yesterday. Dun, du, nung. So, I do have to take into account. I think I'm making the exception for silencing right now. It's kind of hard to avoid the silencing thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about alternative reads at the moment. We'll leave them up for like a different routine at some point. So for now, get used to feeling out the silencing of specific sounds. In this case, do nung, right? Do nung. And so do nung, right? Do nung would be what I would think immediately because this is nung, right? Or nung. Oh no, that's do nung actually. That this is the weak character, so it's nung. So do nung, right? Instead, it's just silence. And typically, what are most of the silence? No, silence characters, like silence sounds are all over the place. So it doesn't really matter if it's oh wait. It's usually, from my perspective at the moment, it's usually preceded by tone 1. So most of the time when you're trying to feel out a silence, it's preceded by tone 1. Now, that doesn't help with which ones are silenced. So I'm kind of curious right now if there's a character consistency. So what I have noticed right now is many of the character silences have this radical. Now, I don't know if this constitutes as a larger group of silence groups. We'll see. And usually 5s are preceded by 1s. And it's regardless of what the actual tone of this thing is. So, 这 is 4, right? This is nong, which is 2. I think 1 was like a ball, maybe like a 3. So there's an example of all the tones being silenced. So it'll be interesting to see if I can glean something interesting. Maybe not, who knows. At the moment, I am not approaching this from a linguistic standpoint where I would read the linguistic patterns or something like that. I think that's perfectly all right. Maybe a little bit later, we'll read them and it'll be like, aha, that's why that makes sense situation. I think Japanese have become very the Japanese studies have become very rewarding in that regards, where doing all the wanikani stuff, learning vocabulary and character studies in a void, right? Like sort of in a void, and then suddenly I'm reading the grammar in Boompro, explicit grammar, and it creates the relationship between all the pairings, like because Japanese has a subsystem of all of the ways things are arranged. In terms of Chinese grammar, during the Duolingo period, like 2.5 years ago, I did read the A1, A2, and B1 grammar points, which I'm familiar with by listening through listening. So early on, when I was able to read some of this stuff, I was able to listen to see the order pattern or hear the order pattern. And when I was reading the grammar explanation for them, they didn't strike me as very similar in the nature of sound and arrangement like Japanese has. This Japanese does have a conjugate or like a conjugation system or conjugation like system, forms and whatnot. Chinese doesn't have that. So in this way, oftentimes the more interesting part about Chinese is that the script like the actual characters have this somewhat like fuzzy logic. You can see that it's still a natural language because there are parts where okay, they decide to go back and add something and form a new system. So it's kind of neat to discover those things. It's very much why I enjoy, for better or for worse, why I enjoy talking about English so often, because English is constantly a Frankenstein, largely due to the consistent permeation of its status as a default language, right? So, despite the heavy contributions of the Germanic language and French, right? You can make that argument, and Latin, like some Latin roots and all that stuff. The idea is in this current state, English is still going utterly mad into the different influences, and that is for better or for worse, right? Um, when it comes to Chinese, it seems like it it feels so different. The experience is so different, and in Japanese is incredibly different too. So, um, it makes me feel a bit closer to those people who pursued like a lifetime in etymology or linguistic nature. Like I'm dabbling in these, and I can already appreciate how ever fascinating. Um, my particular fascination with linguistics and and etymology is not so much the mechanical intricacies of trying to unify the things, like knowing the patterns and stuff. I'm not interested specifically to explain the patterns. I'm I'm interested by its relation with human behavior, like human patterns and habit formation. Like it's curious, it's very endearing that they take a series of hundreds of sound characters and then associate them with like a two-layered way to categorize specific aspects of human behavior, like human perspective. So in this way, Chinese it does not is very distinct from Japanese way of using a similar system. That to me is very interesting. The fidelity of my perception of seeing like, oh well, that's not the universal pattern in linguistics according to linguistics. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't mind if someone explains that to me out of their own interest, and I could try to empathize with their interest. Mine is definitely the behavioral aspect. Like, why did they do it that way? And then you're looking at Japanese like, oh well, this is what they did with that, with this script. you know and that's very neat. I don't know enough about Spanish at the moment. I would be B1 at best in Spanish, so I wouldn't be able to like start talking about like the romance language of that sort, how the sort of romance influence side of English, because French is a romance language, versus the Germanic side. I with all of this language learning stuff, I've become more able to appreciate, not to trivialize the idea that despite origins of a language, it does not account for the influences on the language. So, for example, over time, I've been that person who said, well, English is of Germanic origin. It's not like linguistically, it's not considered one of romance, like a romance language. Like when you're talking about the idea of etymology, right? Like when you're tracing origins and stuff. However, it does not account for the nuances of the influence of a romance language, French, on the English diction and its use cases now versus the Germanic side of things. Oh, fascinating. Okay. Anyways, so du is mother, right? These are the two mutters that I'm responsible for. Or toot, technically, but I think we're gonna just pivot from toot to mutter, because toot is it's not quite descriptive enough. So anyways, tu nong end up being mutter. It seems like nong the principal nong. Oh, takes over its meaning. Oh, what? Oh, wait, what's happening? Oh, tu nong tu nong
嘟哝
tu nong okay.
嘟囔
Tu nang. Okay, so nang is also the other one that I added. So nang and nang, right? Nang and nong are both categorized under mumbling or muttering. So, and then it seems like du has been associated to that. I think we're just gonna do to mutter. It's going to be okay. Practicing the associated characters here.
嘟囔
We're gonna
掂
group them
量
together for now. Dian Liang. Dian is the weak one, and that's the weighing in the hand. So Dian on the right is Dian, and then the fingers is supposed to give you the aspect of it. It involves something with the hands. And then Liang is a quantity. Liang is one of those foundational characters. So how does that scream quantity? I don't know. A Chinese mile under daybreak is a quantity, I suppose. Liang is a
掂量
Liang is a foundational character, so we have to be comfortable with it.
惊诧
Jing Cha. So Jing is the supporting character for startle, right? Jing. Actually, sometimes I screw it up and think it's tone 4, so that's kind of a tough one too. And then Cha is the one we're reinforcing. And the reason why Cha comes up as a problematic is because it looks like dang it, is it Ja? Yeah, it looks like Ja, right? So my inclination typically is to oh no, Tuo. It looks like Tuo. Jai is the one I'm thinking of. So it looks like Tuo, right? Or Tuo, just Tuo in general because of the slight difference in the two. Oh, it does look like Jai. Jai and Tuo, these are tough ones. I'm trying to find other ways. Actually, I might want to go over the entrustes tool, and then they're both the entrustes are together, despite one having fingers, which this one is kind of tough too. And then Ja is the one that I typically refer to because of its fourth tone. Oh, mouth. Okay. Okay. Jing.
惊诧
Dwelling. The wood fur.
澄澈
Chengche. Limpid. So limpid or crystal clear. We're using crystal clear as a thing. So Cheng is clear, and Cha is also clear. And it's the idea of like either being transparent or obvious situation. Cheng is the strong one. Cha is
澄
less so.
澈
Chengche. Okay.
澄澈，嘟囔，边凉，
That help.
嘟哝，惊诧，
All right. Next 5. Next 5.
澎湃，
Pung Pai. Pi is the weak one because it looks like Bai for the most part, and Pung is. Oh wait, Pung is the weak one. They're both weak. Pung and Pi are weak. So Pung was the trigger. Pung being splash. There's also, what was the other one? Or splash as well. So Pung Pi, and Pi is the sound of water. It looks like Bai with water, but then it pivots to Pi. This thing is so hard to look at. Like I don't guess that's like I don't know how that's broken up. So I just keep it together for pay respect. So it's just default to pay respect. The water. Not the greatest. And we'll just use like tempestuous is fine. I think tempestuous is pretty good.
澎湃，栅栏，
Galan. So the many fences or walls. We chose there. I'm trying to equally distribute the characters of many fences. Jia is the weakest of the fences. Yuan comes second, and then a form of Lan.
栅栏，忤逆，
Wu Ni. It's Wu for disobedient. Ni is also weak to go against because it overlaps with Su, or is it Sui? This is why it sucks. What was Su? I'm pretty sure it's Su. To go upstream, right? Yeah. So Su, is the overlap. It's a meaning conflict. This is disobedient to parents. I think disobedience is okay for the. I don't know how specific this parent thing is. We'll find out in the future. Yeah, I mean, even the read is rough. Su is stronger than Ni. Neo is very weak
Ni.
most of the time. Man. Oh no, we could just write this up. You don't need to refer to it. The
绞刑，
Jiao Xing. Jiao is the weak one. Xing creates form, and Jiao. This one's kind of was a tough choice because I think the others were popular proper nouns. So Jiao is to correct, basically, or to rectify. So when you're rectifying a shape, you could think of the human structure. So orthopedic is one of them.
绞刑，
There is a bonus for like how Japanese uses this, which overlaps.
心悸，
Xingji, so the heart can palpitate, and that helps with ji because I very regularly forget that that's palpitate.
星际
And it's more so the word. I don't use palpitate too much.
星际
Outside of talking about my heart occasionally. Whoops. I misspelled.
栅栏忤逆澎湃
Ah, I fat fingered. Alright. I think we're gonna skip the active recall today to make some time to play Save the Diver. I kind of splurged on catching up with someone that I missed the opportunity yesterday. We're gonna do our character studies and then pick up our active recall later. I mistyped. So let's see what our character studies are here. Okay, got a freebie. And that's about it.
浓
Huh. Why am I... Why do I look at it as luck? I'm looking at it as luck. Yeah. Hide. Oh, I am looking at it. Okay. Let's look at it as luck. Okay. Okay. Oh no, that's Ying. Uh some part of me want to type fool, but maybe like Shui or Shu. Probably Roy. Yeah, Roy. Ray, yeah, sharp pointed. Does that help? That actually does help. The merman thing doesn't. It's a sharp metals and. Wait, what was the merman thing? Sharp metals, okay. Wait, I don't see any merman here. What? Hold up. Oh, to convert. Okay. That's a new one. Oh no. I want to say is, dang it. Responsibility in person. I uh I think we're gonna convert it to responsibility. Am I crazy? Right? Okay. Can we interact shellfish? And what was the top one? Green? Yeah, green is the weakest part. That's okay. Okay.
结
I wanted to say, yeah, that's not good. So, I don't know where the bamboo is coming from. What is the bamboo coming from? Oh, it's a bamboo pig seal. Buckle and pig is a thing. Oh, I typed Huo instead of Hui. I was thinking more Hui. John. Okay. Change this up and then find a word. Never underestimate the influence of an American hosted World Cup on a Euro poor sleep schedule. Oh, so you are watching the World Cup. Yeah. Uh I know the US is playing today. Forgot who else is playing. What was the game? What was the game today? I do keep track of the work. Oh, Brazil is playing. Oh, the US won today as well. Interesting. Morocco, intriguing. Brazil is up. US won today. God bless America. I was looking at an article for the current like FIFA tier for for World Cup. I don't follow like football all year round, but I do watch like the big things of things to try to keep topical. So things like the um different World Cups, Olympic Games, and stuff. So here, I think the U.S. is like when they were evaluating tiers going in, U.S. is like 20th. So it is pretty interesting against Australia. Obviously, the brackets are grouped in a way where they're tiered up, and football. Football is great. So I hope to watch some of these games at some point. Looks like Brazil is recovering from their first game. Their first game was a tie, I think. There are a couple like top 10 seeds in the FIFA rankings that kind of dropped the ball, so to speak, on their first game. So I'm curious. I really do enjoy like a statistical anomaly or like a Cinderella story. It really does breathe that human aspect. Like human games are interesting to me because of its spuriousness, not necessarily the stats ball or the money ball situation. I do think there is definitely a lot of elegance to that. You got to keep up with Brazilian memes throughout the tournament. Yeah. Speaking of Brazilian memes, I'm pretty sure Germany's first game was a 7-1 game. Right? Hold up. Let me see. I'm pretty sure, yeah. I think Germany was the strongest out of the gate with against their opponent. And I think they 7-1. Yeah, they 7-1. I think they're the only team that 7-1. Like, dang, man, Germany's out for some blood. This is where me and I knew this German friend for quite some time because we played video games together for like 10 years. And he's not really into football, but because he's German, right? Like he lives in Germany and whatnot, he always tells me about how like, oh, there goes the neighbors again. You know, the football game is happening. And then there is another German that I know now who's not the same person, but I'm curious if he does watch football or not. Interesting. I love the idea of international sports because humans need more of that. Less, violence and war and stuff. I love the camaraderie that things like this can bring to such. I love multicultural events. So yes, that's kind of ironic because I don't follow typical like football like within like national football, but I do follow like international football. They're amazing. 7-1 WTF. I can admit that as a well, high key like Germans a lot, but you have to keep up the act. Yeah. I don't know, the Polish friend that I had, he shows up every like once in a blue moon. We used to play Neverwinter pretty habitually together. I don't know if he likes football or not. We're definitely gonna have to talk about Witcher another time, for sure, because that's gonna be topical. I do want to do like a Witcher legacy project, and that is kind of my like window into the most exposure I've ever had to the Polish language. It's Witcher. Hats off to CDPR, right? They're doing well, very well. There's a Witcher 3 expansion around the corner. You also have to let you finish today's work. Oh yeah, no worries. You also need to rest, so I gotta let you sleep at some point. But thanks for mentioning the World Cup. I try to keep on top of topical things. We'll have to talk a little bit about the World Cup as we go. I watch highlights at the end of the evening if I have chance. So still try to at least remain cultured I don't think I try not to be beyond something, right? Stay cultured as much as I can. It's trying to wash and the seals on that he acquired. Second and bamboo, big buckle. He hopes will impress. All right. Okay, so John, the exception. This is Ying.
影
Ying, it's not responsible. It's kind of like responsible. I just don't. Dang it. Alright, I'm stuck on responsible. Oversee. Oversee. Okay. The same area of use. Where did I drop on this? The merman being convert. So I need to convert. And convert will help.
锐
Right? Yeah. Sort of. Kind of a bit of a weakness. I think the metal is the key here. Right? It's a it's a difference between, so those are cavemen. So it's probably John for drill.
钻
It can be mixed with John or hairpin because of its structure. This is congeal. Oh no, I can't unsee congeal. What was congeal? Gyo? I can't unsee Gyo. So if it's Gyo, is it Ning? It's probably Ning.
宁
Okay. Then Quan. Quinn. Oh no. Quan. Wait, is that not soft? Oh no, that's not soft. What am I doing? This is one. Soft is Quan, which is off the car. And it's the other soft, I think. Oh, not soft, fun. Where's Funds at? Where are you? Is that not Funds? I swear. Or not. So what am I thinking of? Quan. Oh, Funds is not even. Yikes. Okay. Alright, well, let's go look for a one. Draw a carriage. The right character, it carries the one. One does not carry with tool, right? But does carry with mian. Yeah, one and mian. It's a 50-50 on the read. Let's go and grab a one. Draw a carriage. Maybe Che? It can line up with Che, probably. Like one Che? That sounds okay. Or a horse, like Ma Wan. That would be, that kind of sounds weird. Wan Lian? Interesting. Wan Lian. Pair of parallel verses inscribed on streamers? Gee. Wan Shi in elegy. Okay, I think these are all figure of speeches. Used as funeral decoration. I know what they're referring to. But so Lian is chain. So draw. Oh no, it's unite. Oh wait. I'm thinking of another. I'm thinking of lian or chain. One lian. Pair of parallel versus described on streamers. Yeah. This one is gonna be a tough one. Let me get an image. I need an image of. Yeah, of those things. Yep. It's the. It's the like you have the flower wreath things, and then it's the two like streams that come down that have things inscribed on it. That's very specific. And draw a carriage and unite does not quite. I feel like draw a carriage has something to do with uh funerals, like drawing a carriage as in passage. Passage like what is it? Like Chowron situation or Chowron? Like a river Styx situation. So this is like pulling a carriage. So that's why elegy comes in too. Like it deals with funerals and whatnot. That's kind of interesting. Did I change that? It doesn't really improve draw a carriage. What do we have? We have avoid. Man. And I think I put in avoid, yeah, to raise suspicions. Like a hearse as well, like to draw a carriage with a dead body in it situation. I think we're just gonna leave this go for now. The use case seems to be. I almost feel like this might. Yeah, funerals. That's a tough one.
转碗
I'm gonna say draw a carriage, pull a carriage. Yeah. It is it is what's mentally in my head now. Hmm.
省
I want to say it's chew or bite.
则
Heck, it's click. Click of the tongue. Okay. This is probably going to be an onomatopoeia. Click. Maybe it can line up with wank. Maybe like ha. Okay, sure. 啧称奇. To click one's tongue in wonder. Oh, I do that. Habitually, I do that. I don't want to admit it, but actually, Kiryu Kazuma does that a lot. The little that's the sound that happens. Actually, it's curious because it's a very noticeable behavioral quirk that Kiryu has in Like a Dragon when he clicks his tongue. The like older Yakuza games when Kiryu is there's a click that he does when he emotes of his tongue. It's like in wonder. It's like good grief wonder or like astonished at something that might be like surprisingly negative as well. My parents do this a lot. But unfortunately that doesn't that doesn't really help remember this. Okay. Chengqi. Yeah, at the bewilderment, like Chengqi is it's a nature of something strange, like to name something strange, something that has a nature of being strange. And then at the site of it, I guess, like clicking is still ja. So we're just gonna move along here. Not too much we can work with. Small fire. Makes me want to type sha right away, but then it makes me want to type how sha. Oh wait, this is chow because of stir fry. Yeah, yeah, that's my fault. that's my fault. Ah, ah. Hmm.
像炒
Yeah, chao fan. Right. Cha han. Cha han for Japanese. Fried rice. Eh? Oh wait, I think that's Chung. Chung. Sorry, Chung. Polish. This is a this is a pivot from Chung, so let's go look for something for it. Polish. More? It's probably more, right? Chung more. Oh, Chung Guan. I guess that's pretty polished until shiny, like radiant. Or Chung Lian, the other shiny. There's no more like rubbing or anything like that. Interesting. Or grinding or cha situation. Liang Zhang. Sure. Does that help? For polish, we can use either of these. I think Liang is weak. They're both pretty strong, actually. These are our foundational characters. Guang and Liang are our foundational. We'll use Liang. Guang we did use once. Yesu Guang recently. So let's go and throw that in there. What in the
聊
is this like loud and clear or something like that? Oh goodness. What is going on? This is probably Bao, and I'm just typing Ba like a doofus. Okay. That's Bao. Bao, the bottom character is Bao. What am I doing? My life is but forfeit. Let's see. No. Dang it! Fool. Wrong tone. The moment I typed it, I was like, fool is person? What is in front of fool? Oh, fool is just nothing. Oh no, that's fool. Where is fool at? I could have sworn there's a fool here. Oh, it's a foreman. With a compass. Yeah, wrong tone. I wanted buying. I think we recently got this as a kanji. As fool, I think. It's just fool. Fool is pretty strong. Oops, that's Bao. Wind horse, this is a turn. This is a turn of phrase.
赌
Or a turn of sound. Fool. Instead of ma, it doesn't use ma. And I guess sincere is good. Yep.
债
That's I can't unsee sprout. Mung for sprout. Okay, okay. Alright. Typo. Okay.
父
Those should overlap with Japanese. What did how do I screw this up? Wait, what did I do? Oh. Right. The polish shine, right? Polish shine. No. No. It's not abandon. It certainly makes me want to type abandon. Okay. It's probably then Hong. Oh, great. This one combines. Oh, Hongda. I kind of want to change up the armpit and the elbow, right? um, the only Hong that doesn't look like a Hong. Interesting. Okay. I'll think about it later. I think that's a okay pass for. That's a 2. Oh no! No! I got it. Mixed with street. Jie oh, okay. Jie's brick. This is middle. The metal is in the middle. Actually, I'm gonna need something for this. Title. Let's go with. Okay. That's actually kind of pretty good. That's fine.
句
Oh. Huge? Okay.
红
Not a kiln. Why do I want to type Gui? I'll come back.
赠
What is the right radical that I simplified? Submit.
Meng
That's actually a a slight read adjustment for Meng, because Ming. Oh no. The one pair. It's Zhi, not Zheng. Yeah, one of a pair. Dang it. In front of the house, not the chapel. This makes me want to think of xi, but it also makes me want to think of,
西
oh goodness, like fair skin. Okay. Huh. Oh man, this one's weak.
灰
Oh no, whoops. Peak. Peak. Or peep. Okay.
知
Like to take a peek or take a peep at something. Into something. So, where's the spray coming from? Oh wait, is the whole bottom thing something? Yeah, it's a... How's this not... Oh, it's wa. It takes off the wa from the bricks. As opposed to gui off the bricks of the arch. Like, see, so this is what I thought. Gui off the ancient measurements, but it's wa. That's kind of like a 50-50 at this point. Like a 40-40-20. Yeah. Okay. Let's go grab a word for this. Low lying. Maybe like pa or something. Or lying in ambush. Maybe it could be just down. It could be down. Like on the ground. Something like that. Tool or xia. Like wa xia. Wa D. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Instead of tool, it's just D. The other ground. Fair enough. I think this will be good enough. The other ground. I said soil as opposed to D. D is a good one. Okay.
表
Immediately I wanted to write dung, but that's not dung. Quay.
回挖
Oh, latitude. E. E is what? Way.
尾
Latitude's a weak one. Oh, this one's weird.
变
It's Bian and Henang is the... I'm not gonna ask about that one.
知闲
Yeah, that's where they get the military thing.
安
Oh no. We gotta think of a gas. It's not hydrogen, right? No, we know hydrogen. We know oxygen. Ammonia? We know sodium. We know cyanogen. Okay. What in the tarnation is... What is happening? What? Wait. I immediately want to type G,
革
but I don't think it's a flower. Okay, so it's not a lemon. Not a pomegranate. The question is it a characteristic of a flower? I almost feel like this has nothing to do with a flower. This is one of those that don't have anything to do with a flower. Oh, it could just be like a Oh no, it's kutsu. There's no help. There's no there's no helping kutsu. Is there okay, let me guess. All names? Ooh, wait. Kutsu is a hemmed? Oh yeah, it is. Angle of vines. The tongue. I see a bunch of hemp clothing. Oh goodness. Yeah, um there's no takeaway from this. It's either you know it or you don't. Honestly, it's so hard for me to. Let me get another mental image of kudzu. Right, and then let's go maybe kudzu cloth. Okay. Yep. Yep. Oh. Okay. Okay. Yikes. Yeah. No. 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 No chance. No shot. I can't even identify it in English. I'll let it go for now. What? Chu? A whole. Oh no. This is a pivot. Hang on. This should be Chu, right? Yeah, to assist. However, we have a hoe. What can a hoe be? Maybe like an axe, or there might be something with like a blade that could help. Oh, 锄地 to weed the soil. Oh, there's the head part, the 锄头. Most most like bladed instruments, like an axe or like maybe even a halberd or something, if they have like a bladed head, it gets paired up with head silent or an identifier. 锄尖 weed out the. Ooh, that's interesting. As in figuratively to weed out. And Jian is kind of weak. Oh, but 除草 is probably gonna be the safer one. We'll do 除草. Owing grass is gonna tell me it's an object for grass, so that can definitely alleviate something. What? Uh, la lie squid thing. Jia is cheeks. I think I'm thinking of cheeks. And how is that? Is it probably because of the conga line? What the cheeks am I thinking of? No. Old. What the cheeks? Whoops. Oh my. Please. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a sandwich. No tree. Okay. That's not dung. It's something else. It's not Jung. Is it Chun? Chun? Zhang. Shang. Dang it. What do we have? Xiangyang. How did I... Oh, verbose. Oh, I haven't spotted, I haven't changed this yet. Okay. It's okay. 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 It's okay. I think it's okay. That's not addiction? Wait. Oh. It's B. Or paralyzed. Okay. Um, what's wrong with that bug? It's not Yi. So then it's gotta be Yi. Okay. Ants. So that's a no, ants are found in the basement.
Shan.
Somehow I think it's all. Dang it. What is that concave thing doing? Concave turkey. Oh, it's Dren, a concave metal piece. Turkey metal piece. Let's go find a character. Let's go find a word. Maybe inscription or engrave. Okay. Low. Yeah, inscription. Or oh, I don't even have low. Carve is good. Engrave to carve. To engrave. Okay, I got you. This is actually a mastered character, so we won't actually see that character. Oh. Oops. Scribe is along the same thing. You what? Oh, is this?
Zou.
Dude. Oh, not gallop. Trot. uh, uh, it's okay. Gallop, trot.
Bi.
We're not gonna have resolution on the type of horse maneuvers at the moment. Oh no. This is ah, it's oh, yeah, oh no, it's blowing now. Dang it. Hold up. Han is the, I think it's the brush thing that I'm thinking. What you really like about English is that because it's so widely spoken, you have all the style guides to choose from. I know, right? I think you just have so much choices. So how can you not make it work?
Yi.
And yeah, so here's the thing. Since you're studying Japanese, I can give you a little thing about Chinese. So Chinese, the script is built to read most of the time. So like for example, every time Japanese, sometimes when you do like mnemonics, right? When you do radicals, you're like, oh yeah, this must have something to do with a bug, right? That's an insect right here. So that's a bug. And then this is like, eh? But one thing, usually most of the time, is that this tells you what it sounds like. Like, after studying like over 4,000, like between Japanese and Chinese, you know, for Chinese, you know what they sound like. So this is a variant of either chan, dan, dan. So what happens is, for bugs, whenever you have something that is somewhat bug-like or pest-like, sort of like a bug. The bug indicates what it is, and this indicates what it sounds like. So if you ever find this structure, that's how they name most of their objects. Like if I were a snob, I could use New Yorker's O on umlaut on double O's meant to pronounce this way. Cooperation, for example. But I'm just a normal guy. uh, here's the thing though. In Japanese, would you spell it with an OU? Because most of the time, I'm kind of a snob too now. Like for example, here's a good one. For example, this person's this name, right? Satoru. Is it Satoru? Satoru. Or Satoru? Actually, quite often, whenever there's like this, it's actually an O with a line. And since English doesn't have accent, like base English, vanilla English doesn't have accent marks, you can still be snobby and put a line over it, or you can spell it with an OU. And most Japanese games, like for example, Tokyo, it's Tokyo. It's not Kyoto. Kyoto, right? Kyoto. So this is not elongated. However, if you want to be really funny, you can write Tokyo this way. Oh, here's one for like the pop culture stuff. Toho. Toho. Like the game, like the fun, like the specific type of subgenre game, the Toho games. It's To. I'm pretty sure it's Toho because of the Japanese word Toho. So it's this. That happens a lot too, and largely it's because of like Japanese being represented in English. And so wait, so does the line elongate the vowel? Is there a hin u? Yes, it's the diphthong. So in Japanese it's to and to. So any form there's a to and there's a, so this is equivalent to a to versus a to. So like this is makoto. This is makoto. Makoto. And then like mako, and then there's like makoto. Makoto. So in Japanese, in English, this would be 2 syllables, right? Two syllables, since English is syllable timed. However, in Japanese, they're mora timed. So this has 2 beats. And this has 2 beats. So technically it's the English use. So you have to extend it. It ends up in English term, it sounds like an elongate. Why not spell it with OO? In the diphthong, this is tu. So tu doesn't exist in Japanese. No. It does. To well, sort of. So the thing is, this is closer to a elongated O than I don't actually know what the real explanation is, but in Japanese, this sound that this is trying to make sounds like this. So like for example, ke, right? Ke sounds like this. So ke. Although it to an English speaker, it sounds like it's carrying the E longer. Ke. Instead of ke. Ke. You accept that two doesn't exist as an answer, to be honest. Yeah. So, so like um two, like the this sound doesn't exist, or like it isn't a sound. That's that's the explanation. However, in English, this does exist and this. So in English, both of these exist. Like ki, ke, tu, ho. However, whenever it's elongated vowels, they're mostly diphthongs. So diphthongs is like your e to I, your o to u, your a to u, anything that has two vowels next to each other, with the exception of the repeated vowels. So there's none of these. Sort of. Sort of. And I'm saying this very loosely because you could have like a parage. So it's less frequent though, and I don't know. I don't know why they like you still can have a e like in good, like in this. I'm like combining things just so that it's easier to read. So e as in good, e. So in this. So I don't know. I don't know why they do back and forth, but the idea is you can be really snobby about English if you want. all the all the names are like tough. Like for example, you could also be snobby about double letters. Like for this, Hokkaido. Like Hokkaido. This is Hokkaido. This doesn't actually, this is a fake. You know how whenever you read a French word and then it's like there's a silent letter there. Well, in Japanese, all the double letters, all the consonant letters, the one of them is actually this one's actually silent. So you'll probably find that out very quickly. So Hokkaido. Anytime there's a double consonant, one of them is silent. And then you have to, and the reason why you have to pause is because there's one beat. So they're like these two both have beats. There are two beats here. So you kind of get used to that too. And it's a very important thing. Like what I mean is being able to silent is one of the like the I guess the closest thing you have is a glottal stop. What's a good glottal stop? I can't think of a good English glottal stop at the moment. So, like, for example, a button, right? If a Japanese person were to really read this for its way, it would be boton, boton. But the actual Japanese word is actually botan. This is the part that reading Japanese like English like borrowed words, like adopted words, in Japanese, it becomes a potpourri of mixed feelings constantly. Like botan is probably one of the most notorious for me. Like buton would be the read on this, but it's botan. It's all the things you get to look forward to, Mark, when you're learning Japanese. You're gonna enjoy all of this stuff. Chinese doesn't have any. So Chinese does have a teji, like make things sound like or like transliteration, right? Chinese does have transliteration. However, it's very tonal. So when it's tonal, it feels distinct. So you don't have a mix up, so to speak. So like for example, Spain, right? Uh in Japanese it's Spain. 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 In Chinese is 西班牙. Yeah, 西班牙. And you still feel like it's like distinct in nature. I think Japanese, when it comes to borrowed words, it's also frequently and very common, or far more common in colloquial Japanese than Chinese feels more accurate. 西班牙, yeah. They uh uh 德国 is Germany. Since we brought up Germany, 德国. Poland is Poland. Poland. I think. I'm pretty sure it's Poland. Yeah, Poland. No, it's Poland with a B. Sometimes P and B are back and forth. It's kind of double exchanging. So in Japanese, you already know that rendakus exist. So waves and orchid, yeah. Poland is waves and orchids. And these are very conserved meanings. So waves of orchids for Poland. And Deguo for Germany sounds more like Deutschland, right? Deguo. And de is virtue. Virtue country is what Germany got. Virtue country. Deguo. By the way, since it's transliteration, the meaning is not what they named it for. It's specifically coincidental. Most transliterations, they take the like very common transliterations, they take the sound and use the most common character. So bo is a very common character, and lan I'm kind of curious why they use orchid here, because there are a lot of common lans, and orchid, I mean, it's kind of cool. I don't know if they intended to have a meaning behind it. Usually things are like nonsensical, like 坦克, for example. 坦克 is tank. Right? 坦克 is level plus overcome. I guess. It sounds like tank, so 坦克. Or yeah, 坦克. You kind of pick these up as you go. They're kind of either you know it or you don't, though. In Japanese, you simply need to read it in katakana. So katakana is fantastic. It does allow the adoption of other words. However, it's so close. Like, it's close enough that you have to pay more attention to it. Like, balantia, right? Balantia. Like, what does that mean? It sounds like volunteer, but if you try to spell volunteer out, balantia is not. You're gonna misspell it. Poland, Polska, whatever. It all comes from pole, plain and field. Oh, okay. Maybe other flowers were used already. Yeah. Lan has quite a lot of the feels. Yeah. It's interesting. It has a lot of door as well. Oh, what other transliteration words Chinese? There's quite a lot of them. Or enough of them at least. Generally, though, Chinese is far less than Japanese. Japanese, some of the core colloquial phrases have English words, right? Like, actually, cafe is closer to French now that I think about it. Cafe for coffee versus kohi, which is closer to English. Despite both of them French, right? Or is it Spanish? Well, it's a messy world out there.
蝉
So what is this? I think this is a toad. Dang it, it's not a toad. What is it? It's a cicada. It's a cicada, I think. Uh
捐
oh, and by the way, this is traditional Chinese. So oftentimes, why did I choose traditional Chinese? More so than often, traditional Chinese line up with Japanese than simplified Chinese, or like the simplified thing. It's not too big of a deal, but generally speaking, I like to go the more the merrier situation. It's often a bit more easier, like, or my preferential to start with something fast and then refined it over time. So some of these character combinations, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this character combination is something else in Japanese. So in Japanese, this little orientation thing is a little bit different. And in fact, I think this whole thing might be a little bit different. Can't quite think of which one would be. So there are changes between Japanese and Chinese as well, and then Chinese, traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese. However, you can make the connection between what has been changed. And it's a fun little game. Whenever I look at a kanji, like a new kanji, I'm like, that reminds me of something. And I go look it up and I'm like, okay, so is this actually this? So, and then how did they change the characters things? Oh, that was it. Why did I choose traditional? One of the reasons was that. The other reason is I Duolingo offered simplified, so I was double stacking. So every time I learned something in traditional, I was reminding myself what it was in simplified. So the first year of Duolingo in the Chinese course, which took about a year for not this current Chinese course, which doubled in length, but the original Chinese course took about a year, a little over a year. So that's when I kind of stopped Duolingo, and then I have to go back to see what they did when they double extended it. It was about 100 characters, I would say, 100 characters in Chinese, and you got like 500, like at least maybe 200 of them. I'm gonna say even less were simplified, and you kind of get used to that. So then when I went back to learn traditional, I could still see the correlations between them. There are some wild ones that are vastly different though, and they're kind of rusty. Yeah, kind of. It's neat to see more. Yeah. So what happened here? Why is it on meaning? Did I screw up? Wait, why is it on meaning? Horse, take, keeps. Does that look? Kind of reminds me of Jew. Oh, yeah, it was right. I wrote gallop instead of trot. Gallop and trot. I'm not a horse person. uh Uh?
荷
Oh,
包
I can trot. Cool.
壶
Okay, so here's a fun one. These things right here has something to do with like jewelry to some extent. Is the year of the horse? It's the year of the horse, isn't it? It is. I think. Yes. 2026. Yes. Yeah. All right. What are you? Are you amber or are you a jade? I'm gonna go with amber. Heck. You're a coral. Oh goodness. Does this line up with the other coral? Yep. Young. This is either you know it or you don't. So these are one of those things where you know how it reads, but it's kind of like, do you know what do you know what an apple is? Well, you know an apple when you see an apple. There's no rhyme or reason why it's called an apple. That's where I am in Chinese. We're basically trying to learn. So basically, we're looking for words. When we think of objects, I'll try to look for words, and then those words will help me complement the, like, maybe we can find one. Oh, no, this already has one. This combines the two corals. So for the time being. So whenever there's a word absence, like this is a cicada, it could combine with the other cicada, which I don't think I have another cicada. What word did I use for this? Chirping. Cicada chirping. So something that chirps can help with cicada, for example. Oh no, I can only see... Oh, I missed the... I missed the O. And then this is not Ja because it has the tree. And then that makes it a lie.
赖
Lie, and then squint because it has to do with the eyes. Squint. So this, for example, this is lie. The printable read for this is lie. Or any form of lie. So any of the tone of lie. And then this is I. So this is what I mean by when it comes to radical studies, Chinese actually holds up because of the origins of these things. So you get this more so often. I think like over time 50% of time, more than 50% of time. In Japanese it just feels like you're wandering the desert. For better or for worse. Right. Blue.
路
Blue for kill. This vocab is wild. Yeah, they're basically you know it or you don't at this point. Really in that time period now. We're really into that time period. So this is a fish. Like, way.
龟
What type of fish is this? Is it a mackerel? No. Is it a carp? It might be a carp. Or tuna? Salmon. It's a salmon. Ding,
Jing.
spasm. All of these are proper, like they're all isolated concepts. So it's no longer about like whether you can talk your way out of something. They're usually objects now. So object stuff is either you know it or you don't, and you try to describe the object as well as you can. So this wasn't a jewel, even though the right side is a jewel. It's a flip. So chu.
楚
And then what do we use? It's a hoe. So like chu, and then we added the vocabulary word chu di to no. chu chao, to hoe grass. Nung or nung, nung,
农
and this is mutter. So very similar. Anything that deals with the mouth deals with something that comes out of the mouth. So muttering, whispering, shouting, roaring, any sound, click, bang, clang, creak, block, toot, hiss, everything comes out of this. And then all of these are attached to a sound. And then you have to know what the sound is based on the sound that it makes. So there's no rhyme or reason why this combination will lead to mutter, unless you want to create a mnemonic for it, which is where you learn your foundations. So this is a foundation of nong, and the nong foundation is farm, the agriculture. For me, the common character foundation is farm or agriculture. And in Japanese, it's no, or farm. Same difference. Sure. So,
缩
now this could be instigate or long-winded, I think. Or maybe, no, this is instigate. That's, yeah,
减
jian. So for cocoon. Either you know it or you don't. I don't think it's you. I think this might be a turn of phrase. Or like a sound change. Right? Oh no, it's Chen. No, it's Chu. Oh no, it's not void. So it's Yi. Okay. Yeesh. Okay, so Chi. Why do I think it's Chi? I don't think Chi has armory. Does it? No, they're all Yis. So this is what I mean by Chinese is very different. Like, there are exceptions, but right, this is you, this is you, this is you, this is you. All of these have the principal sound you with their tone shifted. So you, right? You, right? And then you have a few exceptions, which are common ones. These are common ones which have the exception, despite having the same radical. But generally speaking, this is not preserved in Japanese. It's more the exception than the rule in Japanese. In Chinese, it's more the rule than the exception. So you start feeling, once you invest enough in sounds and stuff, you start feeling like you can, when you read a sentence, you can bring the sounds together. And when you bring the sounds together, it can help you remember what the vocabulary, or like when you read it. Kind of like in English, like if you know enough exceptions to all the pronunciation rules in English and you read the vocabulary, just reading the sentence can help jot your memory on what the thing is. In Japanese, it's like willy-nilly at this point. I think the grammar and the conjugation system, like the relationship of words and vocabulary and their juxtaposition with their particle, is the way to help out with structuring Japanese. So when you know like noni, like despite, is next to another word, it can help you identify what it is. Or ga, wa, like de. All of them can structure and help you identify certain words. Chinese does not have any of that structure. Minimally. There's like 10 to 15%. Everything else is contextual when you're reading sentences. The characters are as is, and the characters function as the characters. There's no like changing the characters or anything like that. Characters are the characters. Uh, oh, haven't. Sure, maybe. Where's that X coming from? Oh, is it the cross stitch thing? Probably like run. Hmm. Heck. Oh, it's a meat dish. Alright, let's go look for something. Yo. You saw some Hanzi's Chinese course? They should do non-speaking ones instead. Oh, interesting. Alright. So what do we got? Jia Yao. Oh, really? Jia Yao. Jia Yao. Oh, Cai Yao. Okay, Cai Yao may work. Superb meat dish is pretty good though. Fine food. This one's a little bit. Let's use Cai Yao. So vegetable and meats. Maybe we'll understand the antonymy sort of relationship. That is definitely a tree. Or is it? No, maybe it's... Oh no, this is a pivot. Is it? I feel like this is a pivot. Yeah, it's a pivot. Tray. Heck. A mallet. Alright, let's go find mallet. What type of mallet complement is there? Maybe like swinging a mallet? Or it could just be like an object mallet. Or maybe a metal mallet. Maybe something metal would work. Crochet? 锤球? Oh, that's interesting. Wait, a mallet and a ball? 小锤? Mallet, a small mallet, a drumstick? Interesting. So they think it's small. A pestle, 碾锤? 碾, what is 碾? Stone? I don't think I have 碾. Okay, I don't have 碾. 沙锤 or gravel mallet. Interesting. All right, we're just gonna go with small. It's something small. Does that even help? Just a small mallet. Small doesn't help very much.
醒
Low notes. Okay. Chung.
冲
Is this anxious or depressed? I'm gonna go with anxious. Okay.
锤
Oh no, it's not discontent. No, wait, hold up. It's wrong. Done. Fear. Okay.
蛋
Oh, he's crisscrossing around for the food. That's probably
Yao.
what I use for the meat dish
鱼
of it. This is probably tied with you. Do I have a word for this? I don't. So probably you ji or ji yu. Okay, ji yu to covet. All right, fair enough. We'll add this. Okay, it's the two covets together. Ke
科
doze off. All right. And that's we're just gonna do character studies today. Gotta squeeze in some Dave the Diver time. All right, and we'll skip the 101 for now. It's okay. All right, that's a wrap for HanziHero today. Actually, I do want to make a message. I think I'm gonna change a rain check. Oh. Okay. Oh, actually, coincidentally. Okay. Okay. All right. By coincidence. Okay. So that's a wrap for today. If you're ever interested in learning Chinese, Mark, you're always welcome. Oh, and I forgot to talk about this background a little bit, Mark. Uh, my I am a second generation American, so my parents are Chinese. So one of the things that I wanted to start, I started with Japanese. However, Japanese had the Chinese script, so it's one of the few it's actually one of the few countries that decide not to go with their own. Like Korean since modernized, like contemporary Korean has used a different system now. They do have Chinese script at some point, but it was modernized in like the 1940s or something like that. I forgot when. It was a while ago. So I always wanted to read Chinese. My parents speak some mother tongue, and it's I refer to it as Fujianese, and it's a dialect of Chinese. And when I was growing up, I largely listened to Mandarin and Cantonese. But I was illiterate. I was completely illiterate. And the one strategy that I have to double down on my kanji read was to both learn how to read the Japanese script and the Chinese script, which they're technically the same thing outside of kana. So the idea was I went into this knowing I was going to do this already. You heard about Fujianese? Yeah. It doesn't Fujianese is part of the Ming heritage, so it's one of the older dialects, and the older dialect it's largely next to Cantonese considered the the most weird of them. So like Mandarin is a nice litmus because it has four tones and a neutral, four tones neutral. Fujianese has 7 to 8, and my parents speak Fujianese, so it kind of interferes sometimes and kind of not. But the idea is I wanted to read, and reading means I get to double. So when I'm studying Chinese, I'm studying Japanese as well. That was part of the plan. So if you're curious why Chinese and just reading Chinese, it gives me extra exposure. So I'm not only studying Chinese when I'm studying the characters in Chinese, it helps me with my Japanese. So all of this stuff is stacked on each other. There is a very... So the languages are written the same? Yeah, they are. Then you can read them like that with the kana. So it's kind of interesting. All of your compound words, so all your jukugos, when you see a Japanese word with two characters, they will remind you of the Chinese words. In fact, if you're into formal stuff, so anything that's formal in Japanese, like news reports and like professional writing, all of this stuff overlaps. Oh, you meant Fujianese and Mandarin? So the languages are written the same? Oh, in Fujianese and... But you said you wanted to read? Oh, yeah. So Fujianese, we will never be able to read. Fujianese is orally transmitted. So, however, through audio, hearing is transferable. So the one way is to be able to read and then speak it, and then translate it auditorily. I did try to. So Fujianese do not have. I mean, China, maybe in China there might be some classes, but Fujianese is one of those dialects. So dialects are typically transferred orally. So that's why I never learned to read. At home, I speak the mother tongue. I don't speak Mandarin. And then when my parents are out and about, when we're with family friends, most family members, actually more people speak Cantonese than they speak Mandarin, and that's pretty typical. So oftentimes things can line up, sometimes they don't. Like, for example, ni hao, right? Ni hao is a really common Chinese greeting in Mandarin. Ni hao. Ni hao. Ni hao is Fujianese. So if you say ni hao, there's a hall doesn't even have like what did you say? It's unintelligible. So Fujianese is unintelligible to a Mandarin speaker. Oftentimes Cantonese and Mandarin tends to maybe you can first, but they're largely unintelligible to each other as well. So does Fujianese vary much between people, sub-regions? Fujianese is one of the regions in China. So like if you go out to another region, it's a different dialect. So Fujianese, when I say Fujianese, they will be able to pinpoint my parents to a region of China. And then you have like other dialects. So every other region has different dialects, and they are unintelligible to Mandarin. Mandarin is the unifying language. So like it's the national language. Everyone uses Mandarin. It's kind of like speaking English. It's almost like speaking English and then speaking something that sounds like English, but you can't understand it. So like if you and I were speaking English and then we decide to use German, it's probably closer to that relationship than it is like you have an accent, like a British accent. Yeah, but like Orosh in Bayern, you can't learn it because every Bavarian guy speaks a different version of it. Yeah, that's Chinese. That's pretty much what that's more, yeah, it's closer to that. So every dialect of Chinese, you can't understand it. And they all speak Mandarin most people speak Mandarin to circumvent the communication barrier. If I start speaking in Fujianese, no Mandarin speaker only is going to be able to understand me, like at all. Like not occasionally there might be a coincidence. Like for example, in Spanish there's still coincidences. So like Fujianese itself is more or less uniform, just distinct from Mandarin. Yeah. Yep. Now how it's written, so now here's the kicker, right? How is it written? Do I know if it's written? I heard like there's not a lot of material, but most of the material comes from second gen people, because otherwise you have to be in China, and China is censored from the outside. Like if you wanted to dig for Fujianese, you would have to go into a Chinese network, and Chinese networks are invitational only most of the time, right? You have to either be living in China or be invited into China, right? So for Fujianese, second gen, there are some second gen people that place some like content out, and when they were writing in Chinese like this, like using the script that both Japanese and Chinese share, the sounds are nowhere near what they are. So basically it's the script's meaning that they use. So for example, Do I have something that I can say in Fujianese? These are too advanced for me. Like, I don't know what a parrot is in Fujianese. Me and my parents don't talk about parrots. uh, Yo, no, none of these none of these words are too advanced. Pineapple? Oh, okay. Like for this, like bolo, right? This is bolo. That's what it sounds in Mandarin. Bolo, bolo is what is like bolo bao situation. So this lines up. Bolo is close. It's close enough, right? That's for pineapple. Now, if do I have anything to chew? No. See if I can have. Yeah, I don't have. So, for example, 你的名字是什么? Right? Like, what is your name? What is 你的名字是什么?你名是什么? So, 你名是什么 is the literal translation of 你的名字是什么? So, 你的名字是什么? If you say 你名是什么, you're never going to get it. Like, a Mandarin speaker is never going to understand what the heck you said. Like, it's not even a contest. It might as well be two separate languages. Now, if you wrote it, I could probably write 你的名字是什么 in Chinese, like use the script, and then the Fujianese person would say 你名是什么? Like that. What I mean is like they would then ascribe different sounds to all the characters. So all the characters, in my opinion, like I don't actually know, I have never visited China, all the characters are probably still the same characters. Unfortunately, you'll have to learn an entirely new reads. So all the reads have to change. Nearly all of the reads have to change. And here's the one thing is like, so you have these like tone markers that we're so used to, like you've probably seen quite a lot, right? These are the 4 tones. Now, I forgot what the nomenclature. Yeah, so no miscommunication. When you're talking about the writing thing, it's technically still the same. And I think how people do it is they take the meaning and then write the same thing. So whenever I ask my parents, like, how do you write this in Fujianese? They would say the word in Mandarin from the Fujianese meaning. So the Fujianese meaning, they would say like the word sound, and then they would find the equivalent in Mandarin, and then they would write the Chinese, the traditional or the simplified Chinese for the Mandarin pronunciation. And then that would be the Fujianese representation of that word. So it has to go from like the sound in Fujianese. That's how they do it anyways. I don't know how it's done in China. And then they do the sound, which is the meaning. And then you go to the meaning of Mandarin, and then you write the Mandarin. And so far, unfortunately, I'm second generation, so the language kind of most of the language dies with me. Like in my lineage, the dialect will get diluted to the point where it no longer exists. So like if I have children or I die alone, that's the end of the lineage of the dialect outside of China. Now, I don't know what the conditions are like in China, because China is a very nationalistic country. So oftentimes dialects are not typically reinforced or emboldened, because it would create segregation, right? So typically a country like China would enforce their national language, the Mandarin. So I don't know what the conditions are about dialectic differentiation, right? Because that's a different type of country, a different type of government. So in here in the United States, oftentimes there is a proudness to try to maintain your heritage. And for myself, it's going to be nearly impossible to maintain the heritage because the language is only spoken. And then the only way I could preserve it is through the same means that my parents do, which is basically if I want to say hello in Fujianese, I'll find the closest equivalent in Mandarin, and then I would write that Mandarin phrase to represent the Fujianese thing. And also, since I'm second generation, I will have an American accent. I would have an English speaking accent. And the neat thing about English is that English has like I think one of the comments that I want to share with most people, English has so many influences that you have produced so many of those sounds even if you think you didn't. Like I hear this a lot where someone would say like, oh, this sound doesn't exist in English. It's like, I understand it doesn't specifically exist in English, but you might have made the sound at some weird level in English, largely because you hear it from other people. Like, so if you hear a Chinese speaker have a Chinese accent speaking English, you might actually hear a bunch of the characteristics of Mandarin in it. So depending on your exposure to people who speak English in a specific accent, you can get accustomed to it. So that's kind of one of those things where sound can be very helpful. Like one of the sounds in Chinese is ni. Ni is a really weird one. Ni, and you might not hear it from someone who isn't Chinese, like per se, but you might have been around someone who is Chinese, or like someone who is in the media who is Chinese, who might have said "nu" at some point in like Nutella, for example, Nutella instead of Nutella. I don't even know how people say Nutella. So Nutella versus Nutella. So Nutella, the great hazelnut spread of things. I've heard this. That's my personal example, where when I hear a Chinese person try to say Nutella, it comes out Nutella, not Nutella, like nu. So that's things like this can still happen, and because of English, because everyone speaks English with an accent. And that's what I also mean by I probably speak it with an accent for most of the things. I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna aim for I don't know if I ever aim for fluency. I like being, with all due respect, right, to other people, there are countries, I'm not sure if you find this a little offensive or not. I try my best to sound as proper as possible, meeting my company, right? Like if my company likes purity, I try to practice it. But generally speaking, my upbringing in the United States, I like the characteristic of my accent. I like people with accents. It's very interesting. So when people learn different languages, I don't resonate as much with people who like to feel really comfortable in sounding one way, or the highway situation. The way that is possible is they came from a country where they only speak one language. The irony here is sometimes when people look at the United States, it's like, oh yeah, Americans only know English, right? It's the same way when everyone in another country agrees that the United States only learn one language. Like Japan predominantly only knows Japanese. It has one of the lowest English proficiencies in like a globalized country. So it's one of those things, like, I love accents because of my upbringing. I'm not saying other people shouldn't be upset or something. I know that I can upset Chinese people. Like, even if I don't know it, I have upset Chinese people before. Or I have been like, people have seen me as a lesser Chinese person because when I speak, it'll have an accent. In fact, sometimes my Chinese kind of sounds like Spanish. so there is a problem here and there. Accents are great. Germans try to pronounce pretty much every loan word the way it's actually pronounced. I like that. That's what I do with my English in its original language. Let people speak in accents. Yeah. So I like that, but I do both. So for example, like when I go to a sushi restaurant, right? I when my company says sushi, I will say sushi. Like, oh, what do you want for sushi? And I'm like, I wouldn't just randomly say, oh, the sushi that I want is this. Like, I'm not gonna just suddenly say that. It's because I can do all of it. So the idea is, much like everything else, like the long digression we had in Boom Pro, I want to try to do all of it. Like, try my best to be able to do that. Yeah, you get the part about matching your company. It's just polite. Yeah, and that's from my Chinese upbringing. I by the way, I've never visited China or Japan or anything like that. My parents are the influence of Chinese values. They largely are your pretty first generation immigrants that they keep traditional. So for me, it's a great way to be polite, and it also challenges me, right? Like, do I say hibachi or hibachi, right? Or actually, yeah, hibachi, as opposed to hibachi, which is a common thing that have been Americanized. Not even though it's probably Taipan or something like that. And then common things like quesadilla, right? Quesadilla. Occasionally I would do like funny things and say like quesadilla. I don't have any Polish examples. Maybe I'll pull up a Polish example sometime. The idea is when I have company, usually most of my companies that resonate with me are multicultural companies, so they can understand how to be accepting while also knowing what is correct and what is not. Despite that, the company is, we learn from being accepting, and not everyone is that accepting, so we want to keep it with a grain of salt. Sometimes I don't reveal myself, or I try not to reveal myself. You can tell when you're in Chinese company because someone will immediately identify you as an American. So, like, from my lifetime perspective, I've only been alive for 39 years, so take it with a grain of salt. Whenever I meet a Chinese person, whenever I speak something, right? Especially English, the moment if I speak English first, they will immediately say, oh, you're American. I'm like, well, yes. And then they would say like, oh, well, that means you don't speak Chinese. And that's one of those things. Like, and then when I say like, well, I can speak a little bit. And then they're like, no, that's not Chinese. So that's, and it's not that they're deliberately being rude or anything like that. That would be a cultural difference. It's more, I wouldn't be able to speak Chinese because I've never been to China, and I wouldn't be speaking in the native accent. So, like, there will be English accent in my Chinese. So that's what they mean. They like, oh, well, yes, you're an American speaking Chinese. But when they said so you don't speak Chinese, it means you don't speak Chinese being from China. So that's kind of one of those touchy points that I feel I don't have a problem with. It's because I know that I'm a foreigner. If I go to China, I'm a foreigner. If I go to Japan, I'm a foreigner. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is it's a really classical problem. If you're from a Western country, you want to feel accepted and belonging in a Eastern country. That's usually not how that's going to go. You have to feel very comfortable. I talk about this with Drama, who's a German, who wants to move to Japan soon and like live in Japan, go to Japanese university. The idea is that you have to understand that it's not an offense, it's more like a reality check. And I think for me, even though I haven't been to China, my interactions with Chinese people and Japanese people, the rare Japanese people, they're very objective. It's very clear, right? And your sense of belonging or your acceptance actually comes from trying. It comes from being as rigorously respectful as possible. It's not through trying to be what you're not. And that to me, it's a cultural barrier that happens a lot nowadays. Like teenagers, especially from the United States or like Germany, France, UK, they have a common stereotype where because of mass media, they want to move to Japan and they hope that becoming as fluent as possible in Japanese will get them accepted. That's not quite how that works, in my opinion, like growing up. Yeah, even if it's not about someone's accent performance, it's usually clear if overriding someone's pronunciation makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's sad. You think the American stereotype strengthens this? It does. Especially American media, it does strengthen it. So for better or for worse, right? Maybe framing it as a really check minimizes misunderstanding bad feelings. To be honest, fair enough. The Soto thing, yeah, for sure. So that to me, I want to demonstrate or I want to tell this story because sometimes you can still find harmony. You can find harmony in the way you want perceive reality. So when you're aligned with someone, like there is beauty in being a foreigner in another country that gives, that behaves and have practices that are supposed reflective of how they interact with foreigners. And then it is through that harmony that you can build better relations, not enforcing, not enforcing and being intentionally conflicting. So a lot of American values, like the stereotype, right? The stereotype, so meaning statistical average, does reinforce this. Not being able to be aware that when you go to the like when you are raised in the United States, there's an essence, a typical essence of being projecting. So you project your values quite often. You cherry pick and project your values because it's very individualized. When I go to Japan, my first thought is, how can I behave the best as a foreigner? And if I do decide to live in Japan, how can I be the quintessential residential foreigner? Not necessarily how can I become Japanese. That would be my perspective on things. And if in fact you find some rare occasion that they accept you into the fold and all that stuff, or marry into a Japanese family or something like through all your hard work and whatnot, that's great. The idea is aiming to be something you're not from the start can eliminate that chance, right? Like you don't even reach a point of politeness or mutual respect before you can even and again, I've never been to Japan. My parents are very traditionalist when it comes to Chinese, and the whole healthy approach thing is the thing to do. Still though, it doesn't stop me from spending the majority of time of people telling me like how to do I not understand how to be polite, and like, oh, this stuff should be really weird and foreign. It's like, well, I'm not solely American. Like, I like the most interesting stuff about Japanese is being polite and in public. Like, the way I speak English is particularly identifiably foreign. Like you mentioned before earlier, yesterday, when you said, oh, you apologize if it's like non-native English, or like you speak a bit more formally and whatnot. I'm used to that. Like, that is my typical normal speaking voice. When I was reading Dave the Diver, there was no way you could tell, because I was reading Dave the Diver, uh, like English. So I was reading, a Korean developer writing with English people. So you probably couldn't tell, but the way I speak in English is probably closer to what I would consider as how Japanese and Chinese culture would want you to speak in China in Japanese. Proper English, like elevated, formal, subjunctive English, is what I naturally came to speak like, not colloquial English. Like, I'm not saying, I do say these things with the proper company, but for you, when you mentioned the whole like apprehension of being a little bit more formal and the way you type, like the way you type, give me the example that you are someone who is not from the United States, which is great, because that also means I understand clearly how I can speak. And that's kind of the idea. If you get married, etc., you could probably both converge to something that overcomes the domestic foreign. Yeah, yeah. Although Japan is pretty nationalistic in that way. And so one person anxiously clinging to proper Japanese. Yeah, that's a contention point at the moment. Japan is I don't know what it's like in Poland. You already probably heard well enough about the United States immigration thing. So in the United States, it has become like more of a 50-50. Like, usually you'll find your place in the like subculture. In Japan, it's going through that. So it's kind of tough. And thanks for understanding. Speak as usual, though. I'll likely. This is how I speak. So here's the catch. This is how I usually speak. However, when I engage with someone else, right? When I engage with someone else online, my speech might change. So when I'm playing video games and doing things, my speech might change. Generally, like today, when we were talking about earlier, when we were talking about the psychological corollary behaviors with like goal setting, the worth, the structure and stuff. This is how I normally speak. Like, I sound like this when I'm not typically interacting with anyone. And then when I'm interacting with someone on stream, I typically sound more like what they sound like. So the idea is, it's not a burden to me. It's more of a practice. Yeah, just making sure. Fair enough. Yeah. I do like to practice, and that's why yesterday you probably caught me reading Dave the Diver, like weirdly, like dramatically or something. I like language a lot. I think communication is great when you have all the tools. Like, I don't want to be dependent on the other person. I want to be the person who is capable of matching the other person. So then through that matching, I can introduce them to other communication styles, right? The idea is humans need to communicate. And if you're going to learn a language, right? If you're gonna spend time talking about multiculturalism, acceptance, and communication, you might want to be willing to communicate in many different ways. So I do appreciate your candor about it. I wanted to make sure that you can speak any way you want. We'll make something out of it, right? There's no happenstance to wanting to sound a specific way. And you and I are both kind of conditioned because you apologized about your English, and I would probably do the same thing. It's like, oh, pardon me, I I'm not entirely sure what type of English is normal to you at the moment, but we'll figure it out. So in both ways, it's pretty much what I imagine Japanese culture is like, and Chinese culture. When two strangers meet, they would be increasingly apologetic to each other until they normalize their form of communication between each other. Um, if you want to embrace the stereotypes of others that I have met online, I would say 8 out of 10, yeah, 7 out of 10 times, maybe over 50%, the other person is more forward. They would be saying something like, oh, well, I usually say it this way. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep a note of that. And then I would immediately use those cues to fill in their cadence. And to me, that is my joy. I get to speak like someone else. So my goal over my years of communication studies and whatnot is to study other people's behavior and then try to see if I can adopt and learn the way they communicate. Like, I could sound like, I don't do this very often, and usually when the opportunity presents itself, occasionally, you encounter an 18-year-old or 19-year-old, and they're like, yo, man, put the fries in the bag, man. And then when they're typing all these things, and I'm like, all right, so I'll just type like a Gen Z person. And then their first response would be like, wait, what? Why does that sound? Why are you being so weird? And I'm like, isn't this how you sound? And they're like, yeah, but it sounds weird because you're 40 years old, but the way you type looks like like one of my classmates. And I'm like, yeah, because you should be able to do that. Like, how that's kind of the funny thing. Like, I get it quite a lot when someone says like, oh yeah, you can't be like Gen Z, right? It's like, well, I don't know. If the shoe fits, right? That's a millennial term. If the shoe fits, I'm like, what do you want me to say? That I would pass up I would pass up some aura or something like that? Or yeah, Xiaoma giving a lecture in Gen Z is like, oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly the point. I think, to me, if you're saying you like communication and you like language, I don't think you should keep things off of the table. But it can be very weird. It can be very weird. You felt for the kids. Yeah, like, sometimes I'm just like, man, SMH, SMH, no cap, man, no cap. Is, Papega? Like, oh man. What I ate yesterday, that was, I don't, yeah, I was gonna say lit, but lit is kind of weird. Fire is the pretty typical one. Whenever someone says, oh yeah, this is so hype, it's like, yeah? Is it like, are we talking about hype, like PogChamp hype, or like, what's another hype thing? This stuff has to come out from the other person, so I can't even do it on command yet. I would typically wait for someone else to do it, and then I would throw in something just to see how it goes. Usually typing is a little more of a Gen Z thing when you start typing. Like, abbreviating, things hit different, right? When you're typing, it just hits different nowadays. Anyways, one day we'll start talking about like Gen Z stuff. I don't know how much you like Gen Z stuff. What? I'm bringing this up because you mentioned Brazil. You mentioned Brazil memes, right? Gonna stick to Queen's English. That's fair. I'm definitely more of a Queen's English for sure. And the way that I execute the Queen's English, right, is typically when I start talking about something analytically. What are words? You know, the possibilities, the subjunctive. Like, we may come to an understanding after we establish rapport between each other, right? Effective communication is a way to create mutual respect. The odds of you hearing what I just said in the last two sentences, structured in that manner, or in this particular manner, is non existent in English. Like, what I mean is, online, if you right now go on Twitch or YouTube and you click on the top streams, you will probably only hear the indicative voice. Like, yo, this is garbage. Man, I got robbed. Oh, this sucks. Wow, that's great. Yo, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah? You feel me? Right? Man, it do be what it do be, man. Like, dog. That stuff is garbage. This stuff? Oh, that's lit, man. Pure fire. I can't do it like naturally at the moment, so it's okay. Subjunctive's great. Where instead of was, it's the best. ISTG. ISTG. What is ISTG? Sometimes whenever someone, like, I don't know, I can't, it's difficult for me. For you, I'm assuming when you're typing something, it's deliberate. I swear to God. Oh. So, for me, maybe you're the old one. I have no idea. No, I think I'm the old one because I don't know. Oh, what was it? It's not that anymore. What was it? It's like, it does have God in it. What is, like, God stop or old God? Up God? On God? Oh, on God. On God is the thing, right? Hang on. Yeah, on God. On God. On God is the new thing. I haven't ever delivered a line where I'm like, oh man, yeah, on God, man, on God. Got it. I actually don't say the G word too often. So, like, I say gosh a lot of times, or goodness. Oh goodness, right? Oh my. That's typically what I would say. Like, oh goodness gracious. So yeah, I'm a bit of old fashioned person. So goodness gracious, gosh darn it. Um well, gee willikers. uh right now is on God though. On God is the old God. Live reading the Epic of Gilgamesh next stream. The old God. Oh yeah, the old one. Yeah, old God. We could do like Lovecraftian. Let's go back to let's just sack Gilgamesh. Let's go to the ancient ones. You know, let's read a little bit passage from Cthulhu or something. Let's talk about, like, what do you call them? Shagas or Shah Niggurath and, like, Nyarlathotep. Get a bit of our tentacle. I mean, kids are kind of in that. Kids are into that. Okay, all right. Oh man. Nyarlathotep is always a fun like way to say something in English, like Nyarla Thotep. You forgot about Dave again, by the way. Yeah, we're gonna go to Dave now. So, um, I'm gonna go take a break for the moment to do Dave. So this is a wrap for HanziHero. Thanks for again. You forgot to sleep, Mock. I really do hope that you don't have to sleep for whatever you're gonna do. So hopefully you're gonna get your rest. Remember, take care of the body first. As much as the World Cup is inexistent, right? And we have plenty of time to converse, obviously. So for now, that's a wrap for our HanziHero session. If you're gonna watch this later, 谢谢. As always, feel free to follow along, pick up HanziHero for yourself, give it a go if you're ever interested. You're always welcome to come on by and yap until the day's end. Perhaps even to one's wit's end. I'm a bit of a yappy chappy, I suppose. Turkey versus Paraguay. Oh, first thing first. Alright, so I'll be right back. So until next time, 大家下次见，感谢观看. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna get up, take a quick bathroom break, and I'll be back for Dave the Diver. Thank you.